At Slackers Podcast. We want good times to last at Slackers Podcast. We don't talk too fast, and if you don't like the way I talk, then you can lick my ass, 'cause I didn't ask. It's my fucking podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Slackers Podcast. Today, I am with Jason Hanna and his associate Caleb. We're in Jason's office inside of Radio Shack. Jason is the owner, operator, sole proprietor of Area 51 Tech Solutions in Dixon County. Just recently won Main Street Awards Best Computer Electronics Repair Shop, right?
Yes.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I just need to live up to it.
Right?
It's kind of exciting. Not used to winning awards, so I still don't know how to really handle it. I deal with a lot of people and used to being behind the scenes here in this little office, and I've been out front more dealing with people. The tech devices really don't give me too many troubles, so they're kind of easy to work with.
Right? Well, that's pretty great, though. Especially, well, honestly, you were a shoo-in given some of your competition around here. Let's be real.
Thank you.
No, I mean, really, I had a really bad phone call with some of these other people around here, like literally this week. So that's great.
At least I'm not holding people's websites hostage for opposing political views.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Yeah, but that's pretty great. I kind of wanted to ask you, it's basically like some pretty boring interview questions. I know that's not what everyone kind of wants to hear, but it's going to be fun, believe me. How long have you actually been in business?
With the business license since 2016. And before that, I want to say I got the original idea back in 2009. And then I ended up working for Office Depot and... first friends and family, of course, and then as far as corporate-wise, Office Depot and then Staples. So I got some experience there, and I found that people just don't like having protection plans crammed down their throat. You know?
Yeah, no?
No. So funny thing about Office Depot is that like you have like this little earpiece and a walkie-talkie. And the whole time you're trying to sell something, they're like, "Don't forget the protection plan. Don't forget the protection plan."
I don't know.
And so then I asked them, like, "Well, would you like to get the protection plan?" And they're like, "No." And so they're like, "Well, tell them to buy a second one." And so I'm like, "All right, well, you're pretty much paying for if anything fails, blah, blah, blah. And so you might as well just buy a second laptop at this point." And then I actually had one guy do that, and he's like, "But I'm not getting a protection plan." I was like, "Not even on one? They won't even know which one you got it on." He's like, "No, it's an insurance scam." Okay.
That was a good piece of advice. They won't even know which one you got it on. It's kind of funny.
we would tell people, like, all right, so you get a chair, get a protection plan. You sit down, like little brads on your pockets, whatever, may scratch up the seat. The seat still sits 100% of the time, right? It has a small blemish. Well, you claim the warranty on it, and then you get a gift card for what you paid for.
Yeah.
You can go buy you another chair or buy you a ream of paper or something. Whatever you need. Kind of shady, I guess.
No, that's not. No.
But they allow it.
And that's their fault. That's not your fault,
Right.
I actually wanted to know, so you obviously live and breathe electronics. Like, it's kind of stuffy in here with all these wires hanging down and everywhere.
My vacation is going to be so analog.
Oh, yeah?
I'm probably not even going to have electricity when I go on vacation.
That's pretty hilarious. What actually inspired you to get into working with electronics? I mean, that's really, the question,
Yeah. Well, so my old man was a machinist, tool, and die maker. And then, like, during the Cold War, when that ended, he ended up losing his job. And so he went and actually got a trade, like everybody tells you, either go to school or get a trade. Well, he went and got a trade. And then, so I remember that, and I just didn't really like working factories or warehouses.
Right.
And so my passion has kind of always been with, like, video games and computers. We got an old Apple II computer way back when, well, new at the time. And nobody showed me how to actually, like, work on it or use it because I was a little kid. And so out of frustration, like, I always wanted to kind of figure things out. And then I had a cousin that had a Nintendo, and he always would beat the games, and I'm sitting here struggling. He wouldn't show me how he beat the games. So it's like I got to figure it out. And so just that drive right there kind of is like, I'm really interested in it, and I want to figure it out. I want to break the game if I'm going to play it, find exploits, glitches, and all that kind of stuff. And as far as computers, just technology has been booming. Grew up with an analog childhood and digital adolescence and adulthood, and just it seemed like that was the wave of the future, and just always kind of been well with it, and so then also being a gamer, you need to know hardware requirements for what games, so you need X amount of RAM, a certain processor, graphics card, so just evolving as my personal use, kind of like working on cars too, like instead of paying somebody, you got to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And so I know how to work on, certain parts of Hondas and certain parts of Fords,
there you go.
just out of necessity. So then same thing with the gaming, and then it's like, then everybody's like, well, hey, why don't you do this for me? And so I'm like, all right. And then the idea back in 2009 was, just to kind of be my own boss. If you enjoy what you do, you'll never technically work a day in your life. So
right,
that
the old
motto,
Chinese secret,
yeah. So I just went with it. And it's
COVID's a Chinese secret too.
COVID's a Chinese. And so thank God I chose this, because actually this is like my highest grossing year. Net may not be, but gross. I've done so much business because of this. So it's like where everybody else is shutting down, because they're like entertainment, like Gamer's Edge, they shut down. Dixon Aesthetics, they shut down for a little bit. Any healthcare and barbers, beauticians, and things like that, they shut down. It's like, and I've been, alive and thriving. Even so, with Radio Shack, the 2 bankruptcies, you were here for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then this whole COVID nonsense, customers ain't slowed down. We even had our parking lot open up for not really a sinkhole, but a washout. And that didn't slow them down, And so we've just kept going, and it's been good. So I chose the right profession.
Yeah, I guess you really did. Speaking about working inside the Radio Shack building, how did that actually happen?
Funny story. So, again, with the idea of doing all this, I ended up moving back here to Dixon from out in Nashville just to start over. And I got my old job back at Speed Lube. And one of my customers, Dave Reffner, he had the office here that I'm in now. And he ended up coming in with like this little VW Beetle and had... we fix computers on the back, and so I was like, hey man, like I'm trying to do all this and everything. It's just been friends and family. Do you have any extra work? And he's like, yeah, let me see what I can do for you. Here's my number, let me get your number, yada yada. And then some time went by, and things were changing with that job, and so it got to the point where I ended up leaving that job and needed the flexibility, and I had the opportunity to actually pursue this. So I hit him up, and because I seen him on Craigslist, because I was actually advertising on Craigslist myself.
Okay.
And so I seen him, and I was like, oh, it's that guy, so let me hit him up. He was looking for help. So I asked him, if he's got any work for me. He said, yeah, I lost your info, but you're actually like who I would like to come help me out. And then he introduced me to Wyatt. We did a few gigs, and then he ended up moving to Oklahoma, because he had a kid, and it was cheaper to live out there. So he bequeathed this to me.
That's kind of awesome, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everything kind of fell into place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and clearly you're having a lot of success, so it really does seem like you're doing pretty great right now.
Fair amount. I do stay kind of humble. It's a fair amount. I try to portray myself in the business bigger and better than what it is, so that way I can get opportunities to do things. So
right.
You don't grow if you stay in your comfort zone. So I always kind of want to put it out there that I'm looking to do these things, or that we can, so that way I can get opportunities and learn on the job, as opposed to paying like $50,000 for a business management course or all that kind of stuff. But also another cool thing is, so his uncle has Agape Audio Video. They do like AV installs for churches and schools.
Oh, word?
Yeah. So that was Dave's uncle, and so we do jobs every now and again, or he brings me in on jobs. We just recently did one in Covington. I did like 3 projectors at the tippy top of their ceiling, and it was kind of sketchy being on a scaffolding that high. But so I get to do fun little projects, and it's really about who you know.
That is true. Yeah. Do you have any plans to move into your own space eventually?
I still have some identity politics with me and Radio Shack. I funnel a lot of work into here. I would like to, but I've already got this, so I'm trying to more or less compartmentalize. This is a convenient drop-off location. If I were to ever have my own place, that would really be what this is anyways. And then Area 51 be an on-site type thing. So
Yeah. That's kind of, just popped into my head. Like, you could always have your office, you know? But that, yeah, so that's exciting, you know?
So that's kind of how I'm working that out, instead of actually having the extra overhead and everything of another building. So everything's already set up here, and I can just go on site.
Well, that would be pretty great. Do you have do you have any especially vivid memories about customer interactions, whether they're good or bad?
Oh, yes. You want to know about them?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Where do I begin? Oh, man. There's so many horror stories of late. Honestly, don't know where to begin.
Maybe you could talk about what's going on right now that's so frustrating.
Oh, right now is this GOT W3 debacle, where they're failing SIM activations, and I've had to field all the requests for that, which is actually taking me away from doing work.
Yeah.
So why Caleb's here helping me out. That has been the biggest bane of my existence, but I meet a lot of cool people, you included.
Oh, well, thank you.
You especially. Meeting the public and getting to do fun, cool, exciting projects, really. So like gaming computers, so I've kind of got a little niche in the gaming realm out here. Also met Bucky at Gamer's Edge, which they unfortunately closed down. But I met a lot of people through doing that. They bring their consoles and they play all the games, and we got some computers built for them, and that was really exciting because that was also part of one of my original ideas, is like developing. So this is phase one, doing computer repair, and then the later on phase would be like having a game lounge. I just didn't think Dixon was economical enough to do that. It was for him until this happened. So by keeping him supported, I didn't have to have all the overhead, but I was still living my dream, or at least that portion of the dream, just by proxy through him. You know, one hand washes the other. So that was fun. So got to see how that went. Other than that, the most memorable moments would actually be when a customer is moved to tears because they think that all hope is lost when their cell phone is dead.
Right.
And then I can, put a charging port or a battery in it, and then this case in point, this one lady was moved to tears. Put a battery in there, and we backed up all of her photos because her mom had passed, and so she thought that those were gone. And so I brought life to the phone enough to get it backed up, and then that way she could have them. And she just was so happy after that. It was happy tears. So it's like, I don't want my customers crying, but like that's acceptable.
Like I almost can't keep myself from smiling because that's actually such a heartwarming little story.
Yeah, and that's really what makes it worth it. Going through all these like roach-filled PlayStations, to that, like that's what makes it worthwhile. Like, because I'm not fixing a phone. I'm bringing some normalcy back to their lives. I'm putting them back on track. Helping them to do like distance learning and work from home and cherish memories.
Yeah, I mean, especially like this year. So that's crazy. But you mentioned the roach-filled PlayStation. What's actually the nastiest repair you've ever had to dig through?
All right, so between roach-filled PlayStations and Xboxes, the next one would be anything smoker-related. That's kind of the neck beards of the basement. That all they do is chain smoke and Coke. Coke spills on them because the tar from smoking mixes with the dust, and it's super hard to get off of there, and they just neglect them for so long. There's just such buildup, and it's just we just gut everything and scrap it at that point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just tell them all hope is lost. Like you need a new system.
Well, because if it's died, we're not gonna try to clean all that. And repair it, because if it's gone on that long, it's normally like an older computer, like what's underneath my bench.
Yeah.
And they're just too far gone at that point. So and it's like, well, you've had this for 10 years and it's in such a condition that why don't we put you in something new? Why don't you get a taste of how fast things are now versus going and making a hot pocket and then your computer's finally after 2 minutes ready to use, you know?
Yeah, that's crazy. But I've seen some of those pictures you post, and dude, shit's nasty.
No, people love the before and after comparisons.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, the comparison's great, but like the before is shocking sometimes. Yeah.
I'm at this point, I'm more worried about staph infection than COVID-19.
It's a dangerous line of work.
That's why I have gloves.
Okay, so this might be a little bit too personal of a question, but I kind of want to know, what was your biggest payout on a job that you've had to do?
Actually here recently, one of my buddies that I met through Gamer's Edge, he wanted a computer built, so of course we did that. That was a couple grand. And then his parents, they wanted some for themselves.
Oh wow.
And they already had some stuff picked out. So we had got Nathan like a Ryzen 7. They wanted the new Ryzen 9s.
His parents did?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and so I was like, this is expensive stuff, right? So like the 3900X and the 3950X, and that was a $300 difference just between those two processors. And then he said he wanted like 64 gigs of RAM, and so when I was looking everything up, it said that you need about 64 to actually not bottleneck it.
Oh, that's
and it'll do
wow.
like 128. So all in all, that was like a $6,000 job.
Good one, man.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. So that looks good on paper, but again, you got the net from it. Most of that's parts cost, but so I still got a good bit. But I ended up working on site that day, so I didn't actually really get to build them.
That stinks.
So Caleb and Jacob got to build them, and they did a good job.
That's good.
Except for the graphics card drivers.
I actually also want to know if you've ever lost money during a job.
Oh yeah, here recently as well.
Oh yeah.
In fact, so this year has been ups and downs. So just after that big gain, now I've got an iPad Air that came in 2019 edition, so last year's model, and it came in just for a glass only screen repair. Well, unfortunately, that one you need the LCD with it. It's all bonded together. Our previous method of just removing the glass didn't work. So in pulling that up, we end up damaging the LCD. So I was like, all right, screw it. Just yank it off of there. We'll just order another one. I'll explain to her what happened, and I'll eat the difference. Well, Murphy's Law, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
So I got, because I had to order a one-off, got that from the vendor, and then that screen had like a ding and some little shield on the back, and the backlighting didn't work. So let her know, hey, there's going to be more delay, yada yada. Go get another screen, and then that one comes back from doing the RMA, and the box looks damaged. So I'm like, well, now I don't know if this one's bad. Tried it, same issue, and so because it had, mainly because of how long it had been. And then haphazardly dealing with this GOT W3 debacle, I threw away the home button.
Oh shit!
Absent-mindedly. You gotta have the home button.
Yeah.
So it's like, now I gotta order another screen, eat up more time to diagnose, and I gotta order another home button. So I was like, forget it. And I spent $500 and just ordered her another one. Well, it gets worse. So
it can't, dude.
Yes. So I ordered, according to the description, it was the exact one that I needed. Well, so they mailed me a 2017 model iPad Pro, and I was getting the iPad Air 2019 model. Completely different model numbers. And so I had $500 in limbo, and I had to go spend another in order to get the right one. And I just now actually got the credit back on the original. Yeah.
That's good at least.
So I don't know how many competitors would actually go and do that, spend $500 to make the job right.
Right.
I don't know if it's something we did, or if it was because of the screens being bad, or if the screen actually made the unit bad. So because how long it had been, I just felt that's what I had to do.
Just get the job done.
Yes.
Make
customer
the customer
satisfaction.
Yeah.
You got to eat it.
Yeah, I guess that is part of it, but that really sucks a little bit, you know.
A lot of it.
But maybe, yeah, a lot of it. But maybe you could build some more gaming computers soon.
Yeah, that's kind of the point, and that's the thing. Like, it is what it is. You do what you got to do, and then you move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And so that's why, like, I'm really just dying to get back to doing work instead of fielding requests.
And what a great thing for that company to do too. I mean, I can't speak to how well their internet actually works, but I would not be happy if I was a customer right now. What is the best advice that you've ever gotten from somebody else in terms of in regards to starting and running your own business?
Keep the customers happy and results matter.
Okay, so basically what you just said, yeah.
Yeah, and you got to do what you got to do, because what defines you from somebody else. So there's competition. They all do computer cell phone repair, yada yada. So that's a commoditized thing. So if you have competition, you need to reinforce what sets you apart from the other one. So a perceived value, and that right there, making sure things do get done, focus on quality and accuracy, and doing that, instead of just like chalk it up and move on to the next one. But either way, so regardless, I want to make sure it's done, and then even if I'm at a loss, chalk that up and then move on to the next one, because you can't just dwell on it. You have business goes on.
Whoa. No, that's okay. Sorry, now I've lost my place. It's a good thing that we're not live, though, Right. So, how did you actually come up with the name Area 51? Did it take a lot of thought? Did you go through a lot to get to that point?
Kind of, actually. So you got to have a gimmick.
Yeah, you sure do.
You got to have a gimmick, and I wanted to be alphabetical. So whenever you look up tow truck company, A1, AAA, A+, blah, 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 and then I also want to think of something high tech. Everybody's always intrigued in Area 51 as well.
That's true. I just did a whole episode on conspiracy theories.
Yeah. And then when they did the raid Area 51, I was totally ill-prepared for that marketing campaign to fall in my lap. I got so many prank phone calls from that.
All right, so continue.
So because everybody wants to know about Area 51, and I wanted to be alphabetical, and think of something high-tech, so advanced military research, but even better, aliens from outer space.
That's right.
So what's more high-tech than that? And then it's really just putting that with like everyday technology issues. And then while I was hammering out a few details, I had a buddy, like, we're trying to work out a slogan or a motto.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, from our office to your office. And he's like, well, since it's alien themed, like, how about from our world to your world?
Oh, man.
And I was like, that's perfect. Because, like, even if their office is the cab of their truck and they just use a laptop and a phone, that's their office.
That's their world.
That's their world.
Yes.
Yeah. So from our world to yours, we are your technology experts.
Man, that's pretty great. I really, really love the whole Area 51 thing. And God, when you were working on your business cards, I remember when I was working here the first time, I was like, man, this guy really is like hustling this hard. And it seems like you've come a long way since I left this joint. And
have I?
Yeah, really. Like, and I've seen some people complain about you on the internet, and I just want to roll my eyes. I can't get in a big internet fight with them because that would make you look bad.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see some of them too, and that's another thing. It's like some people, they just don't have an understanding of how business really goes.
Right.
They're caught up in an emotional thing, and it's really kind of back to one of the previous questions. It's really how you make them feel, and they just had a bad experience. They didn't have that feel good feeling.
Yeah, you can't save them all.
Right.
Yeah.
You get some of them most of the time. You get most of them some of the time. You can't get all of them all the time.
Well, that's one of the worst things. I got most of my experience with like dealing with other people from working at Radio Shack right outside here, and there are some customers, dude, that are like bound and determined to have a bad experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like they want one,
right.
So it gives them something to bitch about, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna participate in my own browbeating either.
Right.
To subject myself to criminal abuse.
Okay. What do you think about Elon Musk?
Oh man, I'm losing pennies in his stock now.
Yeah, well, actually, me too.
I was listening to your one previous podcast. You're like, I got a few cents in there or whatever. I got like 0.000. So I'm doing the Robinhood thing too, and it's like, man, they were fighting over the 420 mark, and previously he had reduced the price of one of his vehicles to 69 420 as a joke.
Oh my god.
And so it looked like they were competing over the 420 mark. Well, now it's like 380 something today. And so I'm at that point. It's like, thank God I've only invested like a portion,
just a small amount. Yeah,
because I'm using Robinhood app to kind of learn about stock markets. So that way, if I am losing anything, it's only pennies and dollars rather than dollars and hundreds of dollars. But really, Wyatt, he has like the long term plan of stocks and bonds instead of just individual.
He would talk to me for literally like an hour and a half at a time about his stocks and all that. And he's great to talk to, but not about that for that long amount of time. Love the guy to death. I kind of want to talk to you about nefarious activities.
Yes.
So what is it? Just tell me all about it.
Kind of like your podcast. We're generally up to no good. We just get drunk every now and again and play video games. And we just stream to like Twitch. We were doing YouTube for a while, and we weren't advertising, so like being on Twitter and actually being like, hey, come check out our channel. We weren't doing any of that. We didn't really want to edit. We didn't really know how to edit. And so we were just like, let's just put out raw streams. But that idea was kind of because we thought about doing a podcast, and we were just like, it would be a lot easier just to do these.
Right.
And so we did. And that's kind of where we're at now. Just every now and again, just hopping on, hanging out.
So you say we, so it's like a whole group of people, though.
Yes. So we, as Nefarious Activities, that would be me, Caleb, who's in here. Our other
he actually just
Jacob.
Walked out too, like when he could actually say something.
He's gonna smoke a cigarette. I guess he's being shy today. But so we all knew each other from back in the day. I moved out to Nashville in like 8th grade, and so that's how I ended up meeting them. And God, we've been to so many parties together. We've been through so many things, and so even after growing apart, we come back together, and everybody, you get married and have kids and things like that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So we try to have some spare time together and do that, because we like video games, and so we figured that would be a good way of putting something out there, and you got to have a hobby.
That's for sure. It's actually, that kind of reminds me, like you said, you grow up, you get married and have kids and stuff. Well, my best friend has 3 kids now. My old bandmate, Caleb, from an early episode, he's off doing his own thing. And doing this podcast is actually giving me a great excuse to bother the shit out of all my old friends and force them to talk to me.
There you go. I haven't talked to you in a while. You want to be on my podcast?
And then it's like, you better damn well be on my podcast.
Right. Right. It's kind of like my thing. It's like, come on, like you want to go to this other company? Like, I'm your friend. Support me. Like, give me the work.
That's exactly right.
Like, be on my podcast.
But yeah, you guys, if you're into watching streams, how often do you do the nefarious activities?
Well, so that's the thing. We don't really have a schedule,
right?
Because life happens. But if we are on, it's really just going to be after work, after dinner. And
so just go subscribe, and whenever you see it's happening, just hop on and watch.
Yeah. So we mainly been doing on Twitch, twitch.tv, and the weekends. Definitely, we're trying to make Saturdays a thing, but then even through the week. So if you get something during the week, then that's a bonus.
Okay.
And then another thing I was doing is there's this AI thing called Athenoscope that all I got to do is just play Call of Duty and make kills, and it'll automatically make clips for me.
Oh, that's kind of rad.
It is kind of cool. And so they'll take the clips for the week, and then you have to pin which ones you want to be your favorite. And then out of those, they'll compile it, add some music and transitions, and then you actually have video that you could share wherever.
That's cheating, but it's cool.
Well, because we don't want to edit, so yeah,
I'm
works.
sure all these big YouTubers probably do something like that. But that's what's crazy about the YouTube space, man, is like a lot of these people do it alone, But then a lot of these bigger channels are like full-on businesces that employ
Yes.
all kinds of people to do the different jobs.
Tax ID forms and all that stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely. So like Jacksepticeye and Markiplier.
Oh, they're
those-
totally not working alone, man.
No,
There's
but
no
they
way.
started alone.
That is true.
Yeah, and so now, as a matter of fact, I'm wearing an Unis Honest shirt.
I recognize that logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Markiplier and
What's
was it
his
Crank?
name?
Crank Gameplays.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I
his
haven't.
name.
I actually
Ethan.
unsubscribed.
So Mark and Ethan, they have the Unis Honest. It's only gonna last for a year, and then they're deleting the channel. And my daughter Anna is like really big into watching that because it's a limited thing. And we also like the skits that they do. So kind of what they're doing on Unis Honest is like what they were doing at their live shows. We got to go see Jack and Markiplier separately out in Nashville, and so it's like all they do is play video games. Like, what do they do when they do a live show? They just play video games you watch? Like, no, like they actually put on performances, little skits, and that was actually kind of fun. And then they cried because they explaining like how they got here. So like kind of like what I'm doing, explain how I got to where I'm at, like. And my birthday, my daughter's birthday here happened recently.
Oh, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
that was
to you
on
both.
the 15th, and matter of fact, yesterday for her.
Oh, great.
Sweet 16. And so I've been a little emotional, and so that's kind of thing, like when you actually take the time to look retrospectively of where you've come from and where you're at now, it can be a little emotional, And like,
Yeah.
I've put up a lot of stuff in order to get here. But the old me, would kill to be figuratively to be where I'm at. So actually the old me has done what he would do to get to be the current me, and I wouldn't dare take the wrong step to go back to where I was, but it's an emotional roller coaster, going through adversity to get where you're at in order to make something happen. So like with your podcast, I'm sure you've kind of had the same thing, reaching out to friends and scheduling and trying to coordinate.
It's really intimidating to try to talk to people like you or like Kenny or like Zach, and because you guys are like established business people, and it's like, why would they want to waste their time talking to me? Like, it's...
Don't worry. The difference between amateur and professional is the professional gets paid. That's it. So again with Jackiplier,
Have you been reading fan fiction?
Yeah. So they started off with like just shitty webcams, and then now they got like the ring lights and they got a full production, and so that's really a difference. They're going out and doing it. You're doing it. We're doing it. And we got that hustle about it.
That's right.
So you're doing it. Don't let anybody take that away from you.
Honestly, we've said some pretty profound stuff in the last like 5 or 6 minutes.
Oh yeah. Interview me again. I'll maybe have some notes on some other.
Yeah, that would be great, actually. So you guys, it looks like it's a little bit of a shorter episode today, but that's okay because we're both pretty busy right now. I gotta go get 2 new tires put on my van.
Oh yeah.
And then I had to record another one of these today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you can interview the guy that's doing your tires.
Maybe. But yeah, that's great. So don't forget, it's Area 51 Tech Solutions. If you have a problem with pretty much anything, if it plugs in, he's going to be able to work on it for you. Or even if it doesn't plug in, I guess.
It's got a battery. That's kind of like the Misfit slogan, though. If it plugs in, we can probably fix it.
Okay, well, no, that's theirs. It's not his.
From our world to yours, we're your technology experts.
Bada boom, baby. So contact Jason, Hanna at Area 51 Tech Solutions, or come scope him out inside Radio Shack in Dixon if you're from the Dixon area.
And if you're up to no good nefarious activities, it's
yeah.
okay. You won't get in trouble. No felonies.
All right, that's great. So I'm going to do a couple of ad reads. Sorry, it's going to be a little weird, but I have to do it on air or else Audible won't pay me.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah.
Dude, make your money, boo-boo.
That's right. Okay, so first of all, really exciting. We've got the clothing line sponsorship. That is penrosemaximus.com. It'll be in the description. So if you go to Penrose Maximus, dude, they've got some pretty cool designs. Like I said, I ordered that black Vaporwave DeLorean hoodie. I can't wait for it to come. It says it's shipped, so I'm waiting on it with bated breath. And as soon as I get it, I'll be able to show you guys. So go to penrosemaximus.com and use the code Andrew10 to get what I'm assuming is a 10% discount, because they didn't actually tell me how much it really is, but it sure sounds like 10% off. Also, the the more exciting thing is the Audible affiliate sponsorship. So you're clearly into podcasts, which means you like listening to people talk instead of reading for yourself like a true slacker should. Yeah, he's laughing. He likes it. Audible has over 300 fucking years worth of streamable audiobooks, dramatic performances, professional comedy, and lots more stuff. Listeners of the Slackers podcast can get a free 30-day trial of Audible. Members of Audible get 1 credit per month to pick any title they like, and 2 credits per month for Audible originals, plus access to stuff like the New York Times if you're into reading the news, which I'm not. The Audible app is free, and it probably came preloaded onto your smartphone anyway. You can download shit and listen to it offline, and you can even listen to stuff across devices without losing your place. So, also, if you're too busy like biting your toenails or watching fucking Netflix to pick a book for the month, don't worry, because all of your credits for the year will roll over for a year. And all of that stuff is so convenient for lazy sacks of shit like us, isn't it? With the announcement of the Dexter reboot coming next year, I actually would recommend listening to the Dexter series of books. They're narrated by the author, Jeff Lindsay, and since Dexter is actually my favorite television show, I'm happy to report that he really does a good job at selling the classic, creepy Dexter Morgan vibe. So if there is ever a time that I actually don't want you to be a slacker, you dirty degenerates, please visit audibletrial.com/slackerspodcast today to start your free 30-day trial of Audible. Don't forget that is audibletrial.com/slackerspodcast. I would like to shout out to my non-existent sponsors, Raycon. Shout out to the Cash App, shout out to the Flask Cap, and shout out to the Ass Flaps. Those ones aren't real, I made them up. Also, shout out to Four Loko. Please sponsor my podcast and make me rich. Once again, everybody, I'd like to thank you so very much, and I'd like to thank Jason here for coming on the show today. You got anything else you want to say?
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for sitting through those ad reads. All right, everybody, I love you so much. You're beautiful, and bye-bye.